regulations for use of the parks in Sycamore Township. So strictly speaking, there is no requirement.
Mr. James, we have enforced that as far as, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, we've enforced that for years.
What you guys adopted was the application for the festival, which has the different rules on it. That does have the insurance on it now. The board did adopt those several years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I can think back for 10 years, and we've had people being required to get an insurance policy. So, I mean, I don't think this is unusual.
I recognize it's been the practice. I'm just saying there's actually no resolution I'm aware of that specifically requires it, nor any park rule which requires it.
Mike, when did we adopt that? Was by, I trust it was probably by a voice vote, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was, I think, about 2 or 3 years ago. You know,
Maybe you can find that out and find out what it was and provide that information.
Well, I have to finalize my booth order by tomorrow.
Okay.
You want to give them till tomorrow?
To produce insurance.
Yes.
Do that?
Yeah, I sense here that not just consensus, but unanimous opinion that we shouldn't waive it. So I think if you give them till tomorrow to have an opportunity to present insurance, that's fine. And then you do what you have to do.
I'd like to bring up that I've run festivals in community venues for years, and there was never a requirement for someone who wanted to simply face paint or hand out a brochure to someone that came to the public park for them to have an insurance policy. If someone were to have something like a climbing wall or a water apparatus or maybe propane tanks, that's the rationalization for having an insurance policy. That's why they exist. If the trustees could explain to the citizens as to why someone would need a policy to face paint a child's face or to hand them a piece of paper, I'd like to know that, please.
Okay, so we adopted that as a rule, and the other festivals that you participated in, Mr. Fortin, they're not applicable here, number one. Number two, if we have a face painter that gets painted a little kid's eye and the kid goes blind, who's responsible? Who's responsible? Do they have no insurance policy?
Does the township have an insurance policy?
We would not, that would not fall under our insurance, correct, Doug?
I don't know if it would or not, we've just always
Yeah.
required the insurance.
So it's a moot point. This is a condition we have for those people who want to have a booth, they gotta get an insurance. It's pretty simple.
I understand, and
Yeah,
I
so
did.
I know you may not like that, because the other festivals you participated in didn't have that rule, but we do. So
No.
that's how it goes.
That requirement might have actually come from insurance.
I think it did come from our insurance carrier, actually. Okay, anything else, Mike, go ahead.
No, but I do have a conference call that I have to
Yes,
take.
go ahead. Yeah, that's an important call, thanks.
Let me ask one other question about the festival, as Mr. McEwen's here. The township does have rules regarding events and operations within the parks. One of those concerns signage in the parks, and signs are prohibited unless approved by the Board of Trustees. Has there been, I know this is an election year, has there been any approval for use of election signs in the park during the festival, or is that forbidden like all other signs?
I believe that is not forbidden.
No, political signs.
Not political
Political
signs.
signs.
Political signs are-
I mean, that's one thing we're changing in our sign code anyway, to make them content neutral. We would treat them as content neutral under the law anyway, so my response would be no.
Okay.
So political signs can be placed out then at the festival on public grounds of the park?
Not on public ground, I don't know, can they put them on public?
Well, that's whether you're.
If somebody rents a booth and wants to put a sign in it, that's one thing, correct?
I would think, yeah.
But if you just can't put them in, you just can't put them anywhere.
Okay, so we're not gonna see large campaign signs in the right of way where they shouldn't be anyway, or on the exterior of the park somewhere, they'd be limited to a booth. If they're-
They would, if they're on private property, that wouldn't be an issue. If they're on public property, it's a problem. It's always been a problem.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So on Sycamore Township property, you're allowed
No political sign.
no political signs.
I think it's five
Isn't that Sycamore Township property? That's old park?
Yeah.
Okay, so no political signs.
No, within the booth that was paid for, you
Yeah,
can put a sign,
not outside.
but not outside, yeah, no, you can't just dump them all over the place, that's correct. It's always been the way it was, in fact, if somebody did it, we would get them
Then
off.
you said something, that you should not be putting signs in the right of way either, so. I mean, no one, I don't think you should, no one should put signs in the right of way.
That's correct. Now, we've always taken exception, if somebody has right of way in the front of their house, and they maintain that property, and they put it in their front yard, we have always exempted it. And we will continue to do
I'm
so.
talking about putting like on telephone poles.
That's correct. That's correct.
Guys,
Okay,
need me for anything else?
Mike, no, as long as you're all set, that's good.
Well,
Go get that phone call.
Hamilton County Soil and Water does not have proof of insurance. Does that mean they're permitted
I
to?
think they're self-insured, is that correct?
Is that sufficient?
My
Yeah, they're self-insured.
So that's sufficient for them?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That is their insurance policy. Chief, fire update?
Okay, just on a quick deal here, I've been working with Jim Craycroft down at Kenwood Collections on. I designed a state-of-the-art incident command tracking system for the tower for Kenwood Collections that is specifically designed for high-rise fire. And it's basically a complete electronic tracking program, tracks firefighters, tracks the, what the Kenwood collection security and that sort of thing, what we would do in the event of any type of emergency, whether it be active shooter, whether it be fire, tornado, whatever. And I had a meeting with Jim the other day, and he asked me to help him put together an emergency action plan for their side, as far as their guys, their security, their maintenance, and that sort of thing, that build something similar for their side as well as what we got here. Jim's had a few CEO guys from other high rises from around the city come and look at this, and they're very impressed. So it seems like we're kind of ahead of the game here on that.
Great, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's pretty flattering, actually, that we're talking to them about it. So we're moving forward with that, trying to make that have a good operational plan for that building.
That's great.
Which we've never really had on high rise, because we've never really had high rises.
Your software design and programming capabilities are commendable.
Thank you.
You do a great job.
Yeah.
So would the Kenwood towers apply here?
Oh, yeah, any of them, yeah. The only thing that stands out, I have the same program in my car to do the smaller versions of other buildings, but
Okay.
that program is in the command center at the towers.
Okay,
So when they built that building, they specifically put a command center in, so you can go in and run the incident in their command center within the building, and that is in there.
okay.
So that's the only difference
Great.
between that and other buildings in the township that we would normally do.
That's great.
The other
Great job.
thing is, as long as Greg doesn't hit me, we're currently getting some prices together. We've got radios that we use to talk to Kenwood Town Center Security, their maintenance, for when we respond there on runs. And we also have communication with Jewish Hospital, Bank One Towers, and that. And unfortunately, like with Kenwood Town Center, they're on a high band system, so the radios that we use on daily use will not talk to them.
Right.
We've always had separate radios for them because it's a different band. And unfortunately, these radios are going on 18 years old. They won't even service them anymore. We had 5 of them, and we've lost 2 because they broke and they can't be repaired, so we're down 2. So I don't have the price today, but by the July 11th meeting, I hope to bring a price to you that we need to start looking at replacing those radios and getting them up to speed. So it's pretty vital for us to have communication with the town center when we make runs there because of the size of the building and so on. So I'll have that.
Okay,
that.
great.
I'm thinking it's gonna be somewhere around $30,000 for 5 radios.
Okay.
But I'll know for sure next. Oh, look at there, he's already. The other thing is, we had our ISO inspection. We won't know anything for a couple months, but, we're through that.
Good.
That's a good thing.
That's good.
And then we also did, receive, $2,500 from Line Donation for our yearly donation, which goes towards, last year we used it towards the tourniquets for the Stop the Bleed program. And we'll probably do the same thing similar to that, if not the same. We buy the tourniquets, we hold classes, we teach the public to stop the bleed, and then we can give them a tourniquet. So that's kind of how we use that money. So we just received it, so we're in the process of having to get it.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Okay, questions? Sheriff Department update, look who's here.
That's the report, sir.
In the report, we love those reports. Okay, maintenance update, Mr. Kellows.
The Sycamore Road utility work continues. If you've seen the sign been down, it was just put up. The eastbound traffic on Sycamore between Plainfield and Blue Ash will be closed from July 15th through December 15th. That's when Barrett will come in and Neiman. They're going to start on the water main work. They're going to start on the roundabout work and also work up as long as weather permits. Hopefully they get to Blue Ash Road, but we'll see what happens with the weather. But that has been a press release put out also by the county. We gave them all the information. So the eastbound traffic will be closed. Other than that, our crews are out doing base repairs on roadways around the township. People should see them in their neighborhoods. Please drive carefully around that. The last meeting before I went on vacation, there was a motion made for DJ Stone Company to do the work for the rock wall in front of Kenwood Town Center. A resolution was never established for that. In the meantime, Parks Development, I had called a lot of people, and DJ Stone was the best price at the time, but in the meantime, Parks Development, who was actually a subcontractor for Neiman when the original wall was built, came to us and actually gave me a price of $28,000 to do the same work that at the time DJ Stone was the cheapest price for $47,000. I also had a quote for $62,500. So that is savings of quite a bit of money. And they've done work for us before. I've checked multiple references that they supplied to us, and everybody says they do great work.
That's great.
So I'd like to ask for a motion from Mr. Miller to prepare a resolution for that.
So moved.
Second? Motion and second, any further discussion, Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. Connor? Aye. Mr. Weaver?
Aye.
That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
If the resident called me at Sycamore and said if they take down a tree, if it's on the property, do you replace that tree? You're not really knocking trees down.
Yeah, but they're already down, so there have been agreements made with people. If they were on private property, there was an agreement made with them before it was ever done. Because at the time, before the project started, we had to get easements right of way. So every property owner was given an agreement. Some wanted it down, then asked for compensation. Some just wanted compensation for the tree, some wanted replacement. So it all depends on the owner.
Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna go back to number 3, planning and zoning update.
Do you
Mr.
want to finish off number 2 first, since y'all have the resolution now?
Okay.
Who has a copy?
Anybody need to read this any further? I already read it last night, so with the exception of Doug, have you gone over that to ensure that everything is, required is attached?
Not since
Well, why don't you do that and we'll
Oh,
go.
attached, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the housing study is exhibit A. I don't know if it's marked as such, but,
No, the housing study is exhibit A, that's correct.
and the area which is marked exhibit B.
Correct.
Then the properties are designated on that.
Okay.
Parcel.
So is that satisfactory? Okay. We will then.
So, whatever you want me to do.
You wanna read the resolution?
The resolution establishing and describing the boundaries of proposed Sycamore Township Community Reinvestment Area 1, requesting that the Hamilton County Commissioners create and designate the Sycamore Township Community Reinvestment Area 1 and dispensing with the second reading.
Motion to approve.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarber?
No.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Okay, now we are planning and zoning update. Mr. Holbrook?
Okay, sort of follow all that, but I'll try. So the first thing is, land use steering committee interviews will begin July 8th. We have 8 applicants. The zoning commission alternate, we have 2 applicants, and those will begin sometime in July. Item number 1. Item number 2 is, this board approved the Bank of America development, and I'm happy to say they've got their zone compliance plan submitted. I've just got a couple concerns, and here's what they are in regard to that I think only the board can address. One, with that approval, the board required 50% stone per the resolution. What our code says, in that overlay district, we use a general number of 75%, so you gave them relief on that item. But what our code addresses is, that's from the public right-of-way. So when I look at that corner lot, there's 2 public right-of-ways. One is Montgomery Road, one is Kenwood Road. My interpretation of that is the elevations, looking at it from Kenwood and looking at it from Montgomery, both have to have a minimum of 50% stone or preferred materials. The applicant doesn't meet that requirement. What the applicant has done is they've combined, let's say, the front and the side elevation, which are the same length. So let's say one's 50 foot, the other's 50 foot. It's called a simple rectangle. Cumulatively, those meet 50%. So let's say the side. Now, when you look at the other one, which is the front and the rear, cumulatively, those meet 50%. What I'm looking for is a vote, if the board wouldn't mind, if I can accept that, which I think differs from what the code says, or if we are enforcing the 50% requirement on Kenwood and Montgomery Road elevation only.
Are you saying Kenwood when you mean Culver?
No, the Bank of America is at the intersection.
Oh, that you're not talking about
That's
what's
what
on.
we're looking at here.
I'm
You'll
not.
stay on
All right, I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm doing the
I'm sorry.
updates first.
Thank
Item
you.
3.
Any thoughts? You don't happen to have renderings, do you, to show where this stuff is?
Are they scanned here? If not, if they are,
They are. They're gonna be under, we just received them 2 weeks ago with the revisions, so Jessica should have those scanned in. I think the challenge for the applicant is they have a lot of glass, they have a lot of stucco, and their accents seem to be the stone. And those are the areas that you're seeing from the public right of way. The backside, which are facing Union Savings and the Verizon building, it was easy for them to make that stone and increase it, because those are mostly less windows, those type of things. So that's why I'm wanting the interpretation.
I think glass is okay. So it's not stucco, it's glass that's taking up the bulk of the, those 2 sides?
Well, it's both. Like, when Greg brings up the slide, they actually broke down the percentage. So some of the percentage say glass, some of them say stucco, and then they've got stone. And I think there's one other type of building material that they have in there, and that's where that challenge comes in for interpretation.
is the address again here?
7796.
Yeah, 7796.
Montgomery. It's been on that building for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would know, yes.
uploaded in Katie Stocks yet, has it?
No, go into, zoning commission
Cases?
cases,
Okay.
plans, and then it'll be under that case number.
Good idea.
Is there another issue with the?
Well, I mean, just from my perspective, Harry's asking for clarification. Your resolution said 50%. Your resolution didn't make any mention of what faces or anything. The code reads, viewable from a public road as written in the SBI. So, I read the documents, it is 50% of that building overall is stone, period. So, if you wanna make a further determination, that's fine. From my standpoint, if I'm reviewing that case, what they've submitted meets what you requested, because it matches what was shown that day, with a little bit more stone.
It seems to me.
That's my take and advice on it to you.
My feeling is that this is a staff issue, that, this is an issue that usually gets discussed between staff and the builder as they work through